lot of people write to me this week about spirit guides. And so I wanted to do a video that would talk about guides. One of the questions was from C, who wanted to know who her main spirit guide for spiritual evolution is. Another question was from A, who wants to know if her angels are with her. And another one who's called B, who wants to know, is it crazy to think that God or Jesus might have a message for her? So let's talk about all of these questions together. Let's start with A, who's asking, are my angels with me? We all have assistance from what we might call higher beings who act as our guides as we live our physical lives. And they are always available to us. And whether we call them angels, whether we call them ascended masters, whether we call them spirit guides, there are so very many of them, more than you can fathom. And we have their support throughout our lives. They are present. They are outside of time and space, so they're not really in a place, but they're definitely aware of you and what you're going through, and they are definitely available to you to help you. And so, yes, your angels are with you. And then to be, no, it's not crazy to think that God or Jesus would have a message for you. God is source energy. God is everything. God is kind of beyond our understanding as humans, but every single one of us has our own unique direct connection with source energy or with our personal God, and can communicate with that God of our heart anytime we wish, and God will respond. So I'm seeing that your God is loving you and supporting you. And the same thing with Jesus. Jesus is a wonderful spiritual teacher and spiritual master who is available to everyone on earth who is attracted to communicate with him. And so I'll see if there is for B a specific message. I mean, the message from God is love, is about love, and is about vibrating at love, and is about just comforting you and letting you know that you are supported. Well, okay, so what comes up from Jesus to talk about, and maybe it's just a general teaching from this video, is to say that every human has this. Every single one of us has this. Every single one of us has God. Every single one of us has Jesus if we want Jesus, has angels if we want. Every single one of us has this. No one of us is special or picked out to be the one that's being spoken to. We all can have that spiritual communication. And the other message that I'm getting from Jesus is to say that we take things so seriously, don't we? We take things so very seriously, and then we strain and we struggle to get our messages from our guides. And he's just, one of the things about Jesus is he's not serious. He's very amused. Part of his mastery was his level of amusement and lightness and capacity not to hold on to things. And so he's bringing a message of amusement and being light and approaching your spiritual involvement and your spiritual communication through play and amusement. You know, he said something like, "Come to me as a child," and it's about staying playful and amused like a child, and not clinging to things, but just allowing. You know, you see a child with their emotions; they move like clouds through their emotions. All right, and then the other person. Let's talk about this question. My main spirit guide for spiritual evolution, and there may be one, and we'll look for you. But what I wanted to say is that we all have many guides, and some guides stay with us for multiple lifetimes, through our entire journey, through our entire soul journey. Some of them stay with us for a series of lifetimes. Some of us stay for one lifetime. Some of them stay for a portion of a lifetime. And so, for example, if you are, let's make something up, let's say you're learning to be a healer, there may be a particular guide that's learning to be a healing guide who will join you for that part of your journey. And then let's say after you have taken your healing class, you decide, well, I really enjoyed that, but I've decided I want to focus on something different. I'm going to focus on doing psychic readings instead. Well, that guide may cycle off, and you may get a new guide that's more interested and specializing in helping you to do that. So just as we have all sorts of people on earth who are interested in all sorts of different things, there's such a variety of beings in non-physical reality, and many of them they're all evolving, and many of them are learning just like you are. And so you have guides that specialize in healing, or that specialize in something else. And so don't be surprised if your guides change, because they can change. Now, and there are so many of them. There are so many wonderful beings that you can work with. It's like having a giant chocolate box and loving all the different chocolates, and not necessarily even wanting to have to choose one. But let me take a look and see if there is someone that's coming up as for you. Okay. There is a being coming up, and that gives me something else to say about guides. So remember, I just said there's such a variety. That means sometimes there are beings posing as guides that are not really in alignment with your highest and greatest good, but they may pose as though they are. And so one of the things we need to learn about when we're opening up to our spiritual communication and to communicating with our guides is how to have discernment about who it is that we are communicating with. So I'm seeing that one of the reasons perhaps you're asking this question is that there is a being around you who I'm not seeing it be a particularly kind of like a guru, kind of like a guru, someone who's had a lifetime on this planet as a guru and hasn't separated themselves from wanting to be a guru. And of course, I say this about teachers who are alive or not alive, but and my definition of a guru would be somebody who would tell you what to believe and tell you what to do, and who would deny your own unique knowing, your own direct connection with God. So in a way, what I would want to say to you, C, is that your main spirit guide for your spiritual evolution is God, is your own higher self, is your soul. There is no better source of information than that. There is no being that knows more about you and about your evolution than God and your own soul. But you can get different perspectives from all of these wonderful guides. And I think we will leave it there. But for all of you asking that question, if you want some more information, you're welcome to have a session with me where we can go into that in more depth. And you're also welcome to have a spiritual mentoring session with me if you want to learn how to communicate with your guides, and if you want to learn how to be able to be discerning about who you're communicating with, then I'd be delighted to help you with that. But all of those kinds of things take a bit longer than a short complimentary video message. So I'll just leave that open and invite you to do that. And if you're watching this, you know, and you've got similar questions, then feel free to write to me, and I'll probably be putting on some workshops in the near future about this. But in the meantime, there's some great courses on my website about opening your psychic abilities. And if you want to know about working with your guides directly, book yourself in for a mentoring session, and I will teach you. So, as usual, I will just say at the end of the video that there is a form you can fill out to send a question for the complimentary video card reading draw. And there are some mini teachings that you can have in your inbox every week based on these cards. So for example, every week I pull a different card and I channel a different teaching. And it would be a little bit like the one I just did now. If I pulled this card, then we would have a conversation all about spirit guides. There would be some teaching about spirit guides that you could watch and learn from. So if that appeals to you, there's a link that you can click and you can go to these life boosts, which are these just weekly insights based on these cards. And they're meant to help you in your spiritual evolution. So check that out, and I'll see you soon in another one of these videos.